Hey everyone, welcome to the In-Depth Genealogist Chit Chat Live, where we continue our series, Meet the Writers. And I am so excited for this chat with my Jeannie Bud, my sister from a different mother, Katherine Willson. Hi, Katherine, welcome.
Hi, Valerie. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so good to finally get you on air. We've been trying to schedule this, it seems like forever. But
Yes.
I'm going to set the timer because we've already chatted for an hour before we even hit the.
Shh, you're not supposed to tell people that.
Well, yeah, because it's like, okay, now what do we talk about? But we're just starting the broadcast. So I better hit the timer that we've got 30 minutes to learn all about there is to know about Katherine. So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Katherine, how you came to life in Ann Arbor, Michigan, your hubby, your babies.
Okay. I came to Ann Arbor to go to school. I went to a very small Lutheran college, Concordia University, Ann Arbor. I'm not Lutheran, but I got a music scholarship to go there and met my husband while I was here, and he was going to school at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor also. And we fell in love, got married, bought a house, had dogs, and now 20 some years later, here we are still living in Ann Arbor. We probably won't leave until we retire and go down south somewhere. So we have two dogs currently. I think we've had five dogs over the course of the last 20 years. But the two that we have right now, we got them, I think, about 3 years ago, and they're still pretty naughty puppies. So James and Isabella.
Aw. And I've seen pictures of them. They're so cute, but you can
They are
see
adorable.
they got the puppy still in them.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Aw. Well, they're so adorable, and it's like having a toddler without diapers.
Constantly. And the one good thing, though, nobody calls Child Protective Services when you put your dogs in the crate for times out. Thank God.
Yeah, really. Oh my gosh. And you also have something that is just out of this world in your home. And I want to point to what I have hanging on the wall. And I didn't just put those there. They've been up there except for that one
Aw.
right there for my birthday, but the artwork. So can you tell us about your art studio?
Yeah, so we built an art studio on the back of our, well, we had one built. We didn't build it ourselves. We had an art studio built on the back of our house. It's 3 walls of glass, so it gets an incredible amount of light. It has sliding glass doors on all 3 sides, well, actually all 4 sides, because coming into the house as well. And I have all my supplies out there. And because I live in Michigan and because it's made out of glass, I really only can use it from late spring, summer, early fall. So it's really, 2 to 3 seasons that I can be out in there. And I enjoy doing all sorts of art. Right now I'm going through a huge card making phase. I'm having so much fun making the handmade cards, like the one I sent for your birthday. But I also enjoy making artist trading cards. I enjoy making books. I make paper, and then I use the paper to make hand-bound books and journals and photo albums. And then I also do really large framed pieces with the paper that I've made, like large abstract pieces and ornaments, all things paper. I just love playing with paper.
Well, I noticed on the back of my card, and I mean, oh my gosh, how honored I am to have a specifically created just for me card, in my favorite
Yes.
colors with the special meaning of a white butterfly and, of course, the bling. But on the back, I noticed you have a sticker. It said moon swings.
Moon Swings. Yep. The name of my art studio is Moon Swings. It's an intentional play on words, mood swings, moon swings. And about 20 years ago, I had somebody design that logo for me. So it's actually a little swing that's hanging from, a crescent moon. So Moon Swings is, I use it for my email address. I use it for if right now my website for my genealogy website it's been redirected from what used to be moonswings.com, where I sold all my artwork.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Can you
Thanks.
do, like, if I send you my company logo, Val's Roots, and the logo and stuff, can you create cards for it by
Probably
chance?
not, because I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't know how to take like a current logo and I mean, I could photocopy it and like print it on a card like you would do at Staples or something, but my computer skills are very, very basic. I don't know how to do what is the Adobe
Oh,
Photoshop, is
the
it?
Photoshop.
Like, yeah, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm thinking, even if you were just to take, the colors that you create,
yeah.
and do that, we
Well,
might have
heck,
to do
let's give
that.
it a try. Let's give it a
Really?
try.
Yeah, awesome. It'd be a lot better than my stick people that I draw.
I also still draw stick people. My art talents do not extend to drawing or painting.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, we can't all be, that perfect way in everything, including genealogy, right?
Unfortunately, that is true.
Tell me, share with us, you do such an awesome, incredibly special thing as well, with Yellow Ribbon.
Oh,
And
yeah.
can you please share with me? I know what it's about, but to share with our listeners what that is.
Yeah, so Yellow Ribbon, the full name is Yellow Ribbon Reintegration Program, YRRP is how it's abbreviated, and it's funded by the Department of Defense. And what I do specifically is I'm part of what's called the Yellow Ribbon cadre of speakers. So there's about 20 or 25 of us around the country who go to these Yellow Ribbon events, and we give support and we give presentations, resources to families who are in the deployment cycle. So every weekend around the country, there's probably 4 or 5 Yellow Ribbon events taking place every weekend. So I could be, I get requests that come in. There's no regularity to it, so I might do 2 or 3 in 1 month, and then 2 months might go by and I don't do a single one. So there's no regularity, but I do a lot. I'm pretty much traveling on average monthly to somewhere in the country to these presentations. And what it is, it's a weekend where we bring the military member, all branches of the military, and their loved ones. We bring them to a nice hotel and we give them really good food, and we pamper them, and then we give them resources and support. So we offer yellow ribbons for pre-deployment, helping the family get ready for the service member's departure. And then we also have yellow ribbons during deployment, so that we bring the families in and we check in with them and say, how are you doing? What can we do to help? And then we also do one after deployment, because a lot of people think that the hardest part of a deployment is when the military member leaves. And it is true, that's hard. It's hard having them gone. But the really hard part is when they come home and you try to reintegrate. You try to merge 2 lives back together, or in the case of people who have children, you're merging families back. You're trying to bring a service member back into a household that's been functioning for 6 months to a year without that military member being there. So reintegration it's a huge adjustment, and we try to give as many resources and support as we can to help the military members and their loved ones through all those phases.
Oh, well, thank you, so much for what you do.
Oh, it's an honor for me. I mean, honestly, it's an honor for me to be able to serve these military members. My husband's in the military. My husband has been in the Army Reserve for 33 or 34 years. He's signed up when he was 17. So we've had multiple deployments of our own, and I found out what it was like to be the spouse of somebody who's deployed, and it can be really difficult. And so I was really interested in getting involved. I did it as a volunteer for the longest time, and then at some point somebody said, hey, we'd like to pay you. And I thought, I'd keep doing it as a volunteer. And my husband said, no, don't say that.
Oh.
So I love it. I love that I get paid to give back,
Right. Well, thank you for what you do, and thank David for his service and continuing on.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
tell
you.
him that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But let's talk about our other favorite topic, which is genealogy. When did your interest in genealogy begin, and then leading up to becoming a professional?
So I got interested when I was about 8. I think
Oh
I
my
was about
gosh.
8. Yeah, I was a junior Girl Scout, and I wanted more badges than anybody else. That's all I cared about, was getting more badges. And so I would flip through the book to see which badges could I earn on my own without having to wait for the Girl Scout leader to do it. And I saw the one called My Heritage, and I think you just had to fill out a pedigree chart and interview your grandparents or something like that. And that's how I got started, and I've been hooked, ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't remember. Of course, I'm a lot older than you, but I don't
Not
remember
much.
that was in when I was a Girl Scout. Because I know
Oh, really?
I had a whole boatload of badges, and I wanted to
Yeah.
get more on mine.
Yes.
So, but yeah, um, that's great because it's so good as a child. My interest sparked just hearing the stories. My
Right.
grandma would tell my mom, and then I was into photography. So I was taking pictures right and left, and then thank goodness I would write down. Little did I know that was journaling or
Right.
scrapbooking, and I would write down who, what, where, when, why, and how.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, great. So, did
Yeah.
you end up with a lot of Girl Scout badges?
I had so many, and I have no idea where my vest went. I remember having a lot of badges on my vest, or maybe it was a sash. I think it was a sash, right? And I think as we got older, then it became a vest or something. I don't remember. Gosh, this has been, 40 some years ago. But I don't know whatever happened to all those patches. I think I need to have a conversation with my mother to see what she did with that.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, then how did that lead into becoming a professional?
So it's interesting because it also sort of ties into the military. When my husband had a deployment, he was gone and I was working outside the home. I worked for about 15 years. I worked in healthcare administration and I hated it. I just hated it so much. And I started teaching some art classes at the local Rec and Ed, the Ann Arbor Recreation Education Department. And nobody was teaching genealogy classes. And they said, "Do you want to teach?" And I thought, wow, okay. I wonder if I know enough to teach. And again, this was about 16 years ago, I think, or maybe 17. I think I started teaching in 2000 and then teaching art classes. And then maybe a year or two later, did the genealogy classes. So I was doing that while David was deployed, and I was having a lot of fun, and it turned out I was really good at it. I knew that I was good at researching my own family, and I had researched David's family, but then I was helping people research theirs, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And I remember talking to my husband while he was deployed, and I said, "I think that when you come home, I should leave healthcare and do this full time. I think I can." And the plan was I was going to I was going to work for myself full time, part time as an artist and part time as a genealogist. And he said, "Okay, let's see if it works. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, you can always go back to healthcare." And I think I was so bound and determined not to go back into healthcare administration that I did anything I could to make it work. And I did. So I did both of those things part-time for a while, and then eventually the art world sort of sucked me in, and I was the president for Ann Arbor Women Artists, and it's a lot, really. It's like an organization with 350 people in it, and that started to consume more of my time, and I was doing less genealogy. I was still teaching, but I wasn't really doing client work. And now I'm back to having a balance again, so I'm doing just as much genealogy as I am artwork.
Hmm. Um, what organizations you're involved in? Quite a few, because I know I want to chit chat or let's Skype. Oh, I can't. I'm on my way to a meeting. What
Yes.
genealogy organizations are you involved with?
So, as of July 1st, I will be the president for the Michigan Genealogical Council. And right now I'm the vice president. And I'm the director for the Washtenaw Genealogical Society. I'm the vice president for the Ford Genealogy Club that meets at the Ford World headquarters in Dearborn. I'm on some other ones. I'm on the Genealogical Speakers Guild. Too many, actually. I'm the Detroit Society for Genealogical Research. I'm the corresponding secretary. So a little bit too many. I think I need to start trimming.
Yeah, it's like, when do you sleep?
Yeah. What's that? What? Sleep? Huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. They are certainly special to have you there and have you
I
part of
enjoy it.
that.
I like it a lot. You know, I really do love the people a lot. I work with amazing people. On the Michigan Genealogical Council board, the president right now is Tom Kaselka. So he's been a mentor for me throughout my vice presidency for that. And he's also the president for the Detroit Society for Genealogical Research. So I love the people that I sit with on these boards. But you know what I hate? I hate the driving. I am just so sick to death of the driving. So, you know, from Ann Arbor to Lansing, it takes me about, 75, 80 minutes. From Ann Arbor to Detroit, it takes me about 45 to 50 minutes. And Dearborn is another, half hour. And then genealogical speaking, when you're speaking to societies, I don't know how I got into this occupation that requires me to drive so much when it's like one of the top 5 things in the world that I hate more than anything is driving. I hate it.
I know. It's like we tease and giggle back and forth. It's like time travel. It's like just, wiggle my nose,
my
wiggle,
gosh.
and they're there. Yeah.
I am so glad that people like you and other people like the IDG girls, I am so happy that you guys are all available to talk with me on the cell phone when I'm traveling because it helps the time go by.
See, we're accommodating.
That's right.
Oh, what's your favorite aspect, if there is one, of either client work or teaching or giving presentation or all of the above?
Yeah, I love the research. I really, really love research. And I think it's because it's a solitary activity. I mean, a lot of people think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. I joke and I tell people I'm a highly skilled, I'm an introvert who's highly skilled at acting like an extrovert, right? So I love the research because it's solitary and I really enjoy that part of the process. But the flip side of it is I really love the public speaking and the teaching too, because I love giving that knowledge back. It's so amazing to stand in front of a group of people and share something that I've learned and have somebody say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to know, right? I needed to know that because that's how I felt. I was at one point somebody sitting in the audience and I heard something that somebody said and I thought, oh my gosh, I needed to know that. So I love the research and I love the public speaking.
Well, too, it's I don't know if you'll get the same feeling I do is when you're teaching or giving a presentation and you just see that light bulb go off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's our reward.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know that you give a lot to the genealogy community. I know in one very huge way, like 10,600 plus ways that you give to the genealogy community. It's overwhelming to me. But please tell me, what are those 10,600 ways?
So I started keeping a list about 3 years ago of what kinds of links might be available on Facebook that have to do with genealogy or history, specifically about genealogy stuff or history stuff. And, for the first year I had, like 500 links or something like that. And by the second year, it had like tripled or quadrupled. And now I am probably within a week of uploading the update of the list that has 11,000 links just on Facebook of genealogy and history pages or groups. So it's amazing. It's the amount of information available on Facebook having to do with genealogy and history blows my mind. I mean, there's a huge military section of links, historical military links. There's close to 1,000 surname groups on Facebook. There's location groups. There's, Bible, family Bible pages groups. There's photo groups. It's mind-boggling to me how much is available on Facebook. It's just an incredible resource.
Well, it is, and when I first joined Facebook, that was the last thing that I thought about, using it for.
Yeah.
But and taking your class and being in your presentation is like, oh my gosh, whoa! And so now you have a website that you have that.
I do.
Can you share with us what that is? And we'll put it down at the bottom of the chat link.
Yeah, so socialmediagenealogy.com is the name of my website. And when you go to my website, there's a button at the top that specifically says genealogy on Facebook list. And it's funny that, I have the domain social media genealogy, and my idea was I was going to track down all the Twitter stuff having to do with genealogy, and then all the Instagram stuff having to do with genealogy. Seriously, I can't even stay on top of just the Facebook stuff. So I sort of regret that I got the domain social media genealogy, because I'm only really covering one facet of it. I mean, it is true that I also have a list for YouTube, all the genealogy resources available on YouTube, and that's on my website also. So I'm covering two of the social media sites on,
oh my gosh, yeah,
on the internet.
And so if people go to socialmediagenealogy.com and they can click on that link, now it's the list for YouTube and Facebook, is that in like a PDF format?
Yep, they're both PDF formats. So I always encourage people, if you're going to share the link, don't share the actual link to the PDFs, because those are being updated, 4 times a year on average. So share the link to the page that houses the PDF.
And so now how much is the PDF?
How much?
It's free?
Oh, it's totally free. Oh, yeah. I don't charge for any of that. Yeah, everything is totally free. You know what? Who's got time to have to deal with, pricing and keeping track of all? No, it'll always be free. I will never charge for it.
Well, that's why I wanted to let people know that, you give so much to the genealogy community, both in your serving in the societies and the organizations, and then you provide this, and you have it categorized.
Don't you think that's true of most of all the people in our community? Like, I'm thinking of the online community, Cindy's List, totally free. She continues to provide that totally free. Drew and George with the podcast that they do, totally free. And Judy Russell's blog, there are so many people in our community who are providing so much that's free. And even the In-Depth Genealogy girls are providing these hangouts for free on YouTube.
And the blogs.
And the blog articles are free. I mean, it's incredible to me how much is available from our community that we aren't charging, because it's what we do as genealogists. We share things, we share photos, we share family history, we share documents, and it feels right not to charge for the list.
Right. And the In-Depth Genealogist, which is theinDepthGenealogist.com, you can access the blog, you can sign up and register for getting the Going In-Depth digital magazine, which it's incredible for the yearly subscription. It's worth every penny.
Oh, absolutely.
Your article about the Facebook links and so forth is in the January 2017 issue.
Yeah, that was fun to do. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And actually, what was really fun about that is that Sherry Passy, South Carolina Genealogy, I think is the name of her website or her blog. She had asked me to write an article as a guest blogger for her website, and she's also one of the writers for IDG. And then when IDG asked for it, I thought, oh my gosh, we have this thing that I had written for Sherry, and we can bring it over to the magazine, and we tweaked it a little bit. And it was really, really fun to do something that we love, right? Genealogy, something that's fun, social media, Facebook, with all these amazing people. I love working with all of the people from IDG. I love working with them. In fact, I hung out so much with Jen and Terry when we were at Roots Tech, and I'm sure at future conferences that'll be true. But the whole team is incredible to work with and so fun.
They are. And they're so hashtag jealous that I get to interview everybody.
Well, because you're awesome at it, right? Here's another
Oh,
way that you're giving back to the community. It's awesome. You do a great job moderating.
oh, thank you. It's fun. I don't care for writing too much because I'm scared to death. I'll write for a client. I'll write everybody's client reports. I'll
Yeah.
write everybody's, their own personal things. But if you want me to write for the masses, it's like, no, I'll talk. Let me talk. That's why we only got 5 more minutes left because I got the timer set, so we stay right on the time limit here.
You crack me up.
Or we could be here forever.
We could, seriously.
Some of our IDG Chit Chat Live, when there's a genealogy TV show on and we're talking about like who do you think you are, or Genealogy Roadshow, we've
Right.
had some of our chats go for an hour and 15 minutes.
I know. I have watched those. I really enjoy them. I don't usually watch those shows because we don't have cable, and I'm not a big television watcher, and so I'll usually just catch the information that people are putting on social media, following the show. But I love listening to the hangouts that you guys do about it, because then I feel like, oh, okay, now I got a little bit more information than what was being given on social media, even though I didn't watch it. So you guys do a really good job with those hangouts.
Thank you. I like bringing in and talking about the documents, the records, and citing your sources. And I'm the self-proclaimed OCD, talk about the documents. So yeah. But
somebody needs to. Good for you.
So you got to stay on track,
Yes.
Which then that leads me to my last question is give me 2 or 3 of your favorite tips or resources that you can pass on to our listeners.
Okay, so I totally rely on my client work. I totally rely on timelines. I create timelines for, the brick wall person that we're working on, because if you create the timeline, and you have to make sure that you're including not just everything that happened specifically to that person, but things that were happening in their lifetime that would have affected them. Wars that might have been going on, the Depression that happened, the Great Depression. I was doing one client report where it was really crucial to understand that they were living during this huge heat wave that hit in the 1930s. So if you do a timeline, you can identify gaps of where you're missing information, and it might be that information from those gaps that will help you through your brick wall. So I love timelines. And I think on my website, I have a timeline form that people can download and use like as a template that has questions that you would put into a typical timeline. And then from that timeline, I'm a huge fan of correspondence research logs. So what I do is I keep track of who I've sent my queries to, the genealogical and historical societies, the archives, the libraries, the local town historians, and lineage societies. If I keep track of where I've sent my queries, and then once a month I'm always looking at my correspondence logs to see who haven't I heard back from yet, those are really helpful, because it might be that I sent my query on email to an email address that doesn't exist, or maybe I used an online form that nobody's checking. So if I review my correspondence log, then I know if I need to send it again, a different method. And then a third tip, gosh, I love Facebook. Have I mentioned I love Facebook for genealogy? I mean, I really love posting my queries on these different pages and groups that have so much to offer so quickly, And I guess my final tip would be, if you are going to do genealogy on Facebook and you have the option to post your query on a group versus a page, always choose a group, because so many more people are going to see it than they would if you posted on a page. Sometimes your only option is a page, and so you post it on a page, but usually only a couple people are going to see it if you post it on a page. If you post it on a group, everybody that belongs in the group could potentially see that. So there's my 3 tips.
Great. Thank you. And you could tell I was writing them down. Make sure, and it's so true. You'll see gaps right away when you do that timeline. Absolutely. Or where you need to go. Like if you've got one place here and one place here, but in between you've got a total opposite place. It's like, absolutely. I don't think so. And then the
Yeah.
research correspondence log. I'm so excited that you brought that up because so many times people don't do those anymore.
Right.
And even though I may not be writing a physical letter where I'm putting a stamp on it and the famous self-addressed stamped envelope,
Right. Right.
I'm still either a phone call or email. You
Yeah.
need to keep track of those.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And I always tell people too, if you haven't contacted a genealogical or a historical society in the past couple of years, contact them again because new stuff may have come in since the last time you sent your query. Because, I mean, we see this with Family Search, right? They're getting new collections all the time.
exactly. And just because you checked on it a year ago, I've started where I'm checking about every 4 to 6 months
Yeah,
because
good
the
plan.
the rate of things moving is a lot faster.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
oh my gosh, Catherine, my timer went off, and this is the bad guy, not me, but it has been awesome to chat with you,
Thank
and
you. You too.
thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me.
Oh my gosh, this
And
was fun. It's like, sitting and having coffee at a coffee shop.
see, it wasn't that bad. It was,
No,
I
it
even
was
gave you a
beautiful.
I gave you a heads up on some of the questions, so
Yes, you did. Thank you.
I only put you on the spot once or twice.
That's okay. Keep me sharp.
That's right. That's right. Well, I want to thank Catherine for being here. I want to thank all of you for joining us. It's what you do and help us to keep going. It's the what I call the enthusiasm without caffeine. So, um, with that, if you have any questions, or comments, please feel free to comment below. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and definitely join in on the subscription for the Going In Depth magazine through the indepthgenealogist.com website. And if you want, send us a quick email at info@theindepthgenealogist.com. And with that, I bid you all a fond farewell. Until next time, go in depth with all of your ancestors. Bye-bye.